ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
चक्षुरुन्मुदितं
येन
येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरुवे
श्रीगुर्वे
नमः।
नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं येन
स्थापितं येन
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं
श्रीयुतापदकमलं
श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय
कृष्णपदाय
कृष्णपृष्ठाय
कृष्णपृष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्री
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिनिति
स्वामिनिति
नामिने।
नाम।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सरस्वते
सरस्वते
देवे
देवे
गौरवाणी
गौरवाणी
प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणे
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे।
पश्चादेशधारिणे
जय श्री
जय श्री
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानन्द
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधार
गदाधर
श्रीवासादि गौर
श्रीवासादि
भक्तविंद।
भक्तवृंद।
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्णा हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे राम
Hare Rama,
राम
Rama
राम
Rama.
हरे हरे। हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna, Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे राम
Hare Hare Rama,
राम
Rama
राम हरे
Rama.
हरे। हरे
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama, Hare Rama,
राम राम
Rama
हरे
Rama,
हरे।
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So we are
Hare
in
Krishna.
chapter 3. We are discussing about the Karma Yoga, and we have discussed up to verse 7, and now we'll be starting verse 8 from today. So Krishna has been giving reason that why um, Arjun should be doing his duty rather than not doing it. So karma, akarma, and vikarma. So that portion, Krishna is elaborating and talking about that. So 3.8, we will chant and then we'll discuss about 3.8. So I will chant, you repeat. Neyatam kuru karma tvam
नियतं कुरु कर्म
karma jayo bhay akarma
कर्माजयो
जयो हि अकर्मणा
sharir yatrapi chate
शरीरयत्रापि
शरीरयापि
जाते
चाते
न प्रसीदेयत अकर्मणः.
न प्रसीदेत्
न
अकर्मणा.
प्रसज्यते अकर्मणः
So, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So, if you look at from the perspective of, no, I don't want to work, I will just sit at one place and do nothing. So, that time, is your mind uh, is also stopped working during that time? No, that's not possible. It's not possible to mind to stop working. Yeah, we will think something or the other, so mind is continuously working. You cannot stop mind from not working. And if some mosquito comes on your body, will you allow him to bite you? You can allow one or two or three, but not more than that. If some lizard comes near you, are you going to not run away? So that is also karma actually. You are trying to save yourself. So karma is always there with you. You can't remain without doing any karma. So it is very hard to not do any work and just sit at one place. So that's what Krishna is saying in Niyatam, that is Niyatam and prescribed. Kuru karmatvam, do your prescribed duty. Karma jayo hi akarmanaha. Karma jayo is superior or better. And karma is better than akarma. At least do your prescribed duty. Akarma means not doing anything, just sitting, idle. And I told you about akarma is not possible. Vikarma is not possible. Akarma is also not possible, right? Sorry, vikarma is not possible. So sharira yatrapi chate. Sharira yatra. So the soul is on a yatra of sharira in one's lifetime. So soul is there in the body as long as the body is working. It is like a vehicle. So na pasideta akarmanaha. One will not be able to do that. One will not be able to survive if one does not do one's prescribed duty. So here Krishna is saying that whatever the reason for bodily maintenance is, that you have to do. So Krishna has till now given three reasons that akarma, inactivity, renunciation is not to be done by Arjuna. Reasons that he gave by Krishna for doing karma yoga, then renounced the order of life is, it is unnatural. It won't lead to purification or advancement. And second point, he says that, disrupt social order as people will become misled, as people will become hypocrite. And Arjun is kind of a person who is a leader. So specific example of Arjun become a leader, and if he doesn't do that, how can he lead people, a group of people? He will not be the proper leader if he doesn't do any karma. Third reason is one will not be able to maintain one's own body also if he doesn't do any karma. Therefore, we have to do our prescribed duty. So what do we mean by maintaining body? Actually, in Vedic culture, Varna is for the body. Ashrama is for soul in broader sense. So Varna, which means Brahman, Kshatriya, Kshudra. So according to one's Varna, if one does activity, then he is able to make contribution to the society according to one's uh, psychophysical nature, and thereby also earns one's living. So the prescribed duty of a person is Swadharma. What is his Swadharma? That he has to do. So Swadharma comes from the Varna, and accordingly he is placed in that particular ashram. So there is material duty and there is spiritual duty. When one does a proper Swadharma, he can also learn his livelihood. So for Kshatriya, the Swadharma is ruling. So everyone has their Swadharma. So by doing one's karma according to one's Swadharma, one earns one's living. In today's society, we don't have the Varnashrama system. So we may be having different prescribed duties. We may have to do our worldly duties, and by that we are able to maintain ourselves. So for bodily maintenance, for personal purification, and for the sake of setting up a good example, we need to act according to our prescribed duties. So in this way, Krishna tells Arjun, do not give up your prescribed duties. And by doing this, you will make spiritual advancement. So better to do your prescribed duty rather than sitting at one place and not doing anything. And I give you the example of sitting at one place also you will be doing some or the other work. You can't just sit aside and don't do anything. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm not getting any response. I don't know whether you
Yes,
guys.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Sorry, I was
Prabhu.
on mute. I was
Yes.
on mute.
Okay, okay. So, so that is what the summary of 3.8 verse, Do you have any questions? Because I not only summary, but I've tried to, elaborate on what Krishna has said and also in Prabhupada's purport, what Prabhupada has explained. I'm just assuming that you all are reading the purport of your Prabhupada. So now Arjun's question is okay, that is fine, but my original question was on bondage. That's what, Arjuna will think. I wanted to give up activities because activities lead to bondage, and inactivity is the way by which we can free ourselves from bondage. So, next verse tells us that said, no, that won't happen. You can do activities, but still can remain free from bondage. How does that happen? That is explained in the next verse. Yajnathat karmadonyatra
Yadnarthat karmano
lokoyam
कर्मण्यत्र
karma bandhanaha
lokoyam
लोकोऽयं
karmabandhana
कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म
तदर्थं कर्म
कौन्तेय
कौन्तेय
मुक्त संग समाचरः.
सङ्गः
मुक्तसङ्गसमाचरः
समाचर
Translated by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So, here, if we go word by word, yajnathat karmano. So, one should do work for the purpose of yajna. A yajna means the karma. Okay. And what kind of work it is that? It is the duty of the varna in which you are placed. Nyatra, for any other purpose, if one does work. Lokoyam karma bandhanaha. One becomes bound by karma. Lokoham karma bandhana. When? Therefore, tad artham karma kaunteya. What is that? What is tad artham? And yajnarthat, for the sake of yajna, karma kaunteya, you should do the karma in order to not having that non-acting in your prescribed duty. So mukta sangha samachara, then you will always stay free from the bondage. You will not get bound. If you don't do the work, you will get bound. But if you do the work and you are doing your work for Krishna, then you will not get the bondage. That is actually the real meaning of it. So this is the first verse in Bhagavad Gita which refers yajna. This will repeat in further verses. Yajna is having a form and the principle. Just like in yoga, most people associate yoga with sitting and doing particular asana. But this is the form, one particular form, but principle is yoga means connection of soul with super soul. Similarly, yajna is having form and the principle. So generally people just focuses on forms, and the form of yajna is fire sacrifice, and in that ahuti is made, oblations, right? But what is the principle? The principle is sacrifice, basically. So if you don't do any sacrifice, then that means you are not actually putting yourself into that work. So from material point of view, it may seem that offerings like ghee, rice, etc., made in fire sacrifice, that is useless, but it is not so. Fire sacrifice is considered as mouth of Lord Vishnu. An offering made goes to the Lord as per the Rig Veda. So, Lord Vishnu's form that we can see in this material world is the flame. okay, or the fire. The fire is the flame. So that we see as the real rupa of Lord Vishnu in the form of the fire. And when we offer oblations, that is actually the mouth of Lord Vishnu where we are putting all the material, that oblations that we say. Right? We say, uh, akshatam swaha, then ghritam swaha. So like that. So when we do swaha, that means we are actually putting into the mouth of the Lord. So Devanama Paramo Paramo Vishnu Avamo Agni Tadantara Sarva Devatas. So Rigveda says that among Devatas, Paramo Supreme Devatas is Vishnu and Avamo is lowest in terms of accessibility and not in terms of power. So that is Agni. In between are other Devatas. So highest and most transcendental God is Lord Vishnu, which is most difficult to reach and most easiest to reach among demigod is Agni Dev. So through Agni Dev, sacrifice can be offered to all different demigods and to Lord Vishnu. So this can be explained by our financial system or credit card system. Someone put money in great credit card or debit card. Someone who does not know the system, if he will see this, he will say, "Oh, you have given rupees 50,000 and got this small plastic card." But then somebody can explain it. No, the money is not lost. It is here through this card. I can spend rupees 50,000 using this card. So like that, we can make sacrifice in fire, but it is not lost. It is just lost from the material vision. It reaches to God and we will be benefited like pious credit, material and spiritual benefit. So I could have been eaten, but I have given to Lord Vishnu, that is the sacrifice. So in this verse, Krishna is talking about the principle of yajna and not the form of yajna. The principle is sacrifice. So what I could have enjoyed, I have given it up for the sake of Lord. That is the sacrifice. So yajna represents sacrifice. So Krishna is telling here, when you do your work as sacrifice, then you will not be bound. You will be liberated. Therefore, do your work as a sacrifice, then there is no bondage at all. And this principle of Varnashrama, as quoted by Srila Prabhupada in his purport, is Varnashrama Charavata Purushena Parha Pumana Vishnu Aradhyate. So Vishnu Puran says in 3.8.8, about this particular verse. The purpose of Varnashrama is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. And then when one does it in this way, then one is not bound by karma. So in this way, Krishna has concluded the section that you should act and do not give up activity and act in such a way that you are not bound. Lord said in Bhagavad Gita that whatever work we do should work as a sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. So Varnashrama is meant to achieve this because Varnashrama is actually created by the Lord Himself. Chato Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. He says that very boldly. So we have to work under our particular Varna Ashrama so that we are, whatever work we are doing, it is going as a yajna or as a sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. Yeah. Any question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If, for example, we are working in Coles or Woolies as a cashier and we're billing all the things, and then we have to handle so many different things,
Yeah.
including non-veg and everything.
Yeah.
And my question is, if we are doing our job as a sacrifice to Vishnu or Krishna, how are we making this as a sacrifice? Something that's like,
Okay, so sometimes you have to work in such conditions because that is the situation we are put into. But if you are doing your duty as a sacrifice to Lord, then Lord will make sure that you come out of that situation very soon. We should not think that, oh, I'm doing this very bad work. Just do it as a part of your duty. That is the prescribed duty. Prescribed means what you are made to do for at that particular situation, right? If doctor gives you prescription saying that this is the prescribed prescription for you, take this medication so and so time, don't do it, don't do eat this, but eat this. So there is a prescription, you have to follow that. Accordingly, you have been put into that situation where you have to work in that particular job wherein you are handling meat or chicken or whatever, and then you have to deal with it. But what can you do? You have been put in the situation. It is because of the karmas that you have done in the past life. So you have to go through that sacrifice, and you have to tolerate that. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, satisfied?
Yes.
Yeah. So never think that, oh, I'm doing such a bad work. How can I do my Krishna consciousness with this? No, you have been put into that situation because you're paying the karma of your last life. And which last life we don't know. It may be this life, it may be earlier life, it may be life before 10 births. You don't know. I mean, we can't just calculate that. Nobody can calculate that. Only Krishna would know that.
Yep.
So now,
But if someone is doing something, and and the example which Mataji took, right, just to have additional money, but
hmm,
let's say God has enough arrangement. If you don't even do that work, you can survive. Then
yeah,
in
again
that
the same thing.
condition, do
If the money she is earning in a particular job, if that is not enough to maintain the family, then she has to do extra work. She is not doing for her own satisfaction, but for the sake of family. So that is again a prescribed duty. Yeah. Are you okay with that?
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So now, if you look at the complete verses that we have done and the further verses that we are going to do in a summary way, so 1 to 10, Krishna Karma Yoga is been discussed. It's better, and Karma Yoga is better for you as you are not qualified to do Jnana Yoga. Of course, Arjuna is a pure devotee and he is qualified for more than Jnana Yoga. But in this context, when Krishna is giving instructions at the progressive levels, and the level he is talking for, if one is not qualified, then Jnana Yoga can create disruption in the society. And it can make one hypocritical and can make one's livelihood also difficult. So that's why he has to perform that duty. So now the verse 10 of this chapter, of this particular section, Saha yajna praja sishtva
सह यज्ञो प्रजा
Yajna
सृष्ट्वा
praja srishtva
पुरोवाच प्रजापति
पुरोवाच
purovacha
प्रजापति
prajapati
अरेन प्रसविश्रद्धम्
अनेन
anena
प्रसविस्वाद्या
prasyavidyatya
एष वोस्त्व इष्टकर्मधुक्.
एषावोऽस्त्व
ishavo istava
इष्टकर्मदुः
kamadhuk.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So, we have earlier discussed the spiral progression. So here we will discuss if one is not qualified for Karma Yoga, then one should do practice Karma Kanda. Yeah. So at least by doing Karma Kanda, what will happen? One, you are ultimately doing the service to Vishnu, but not in a direct way, but indirect way. And one fine day you will realize that, oh, what I'm doing is Karma Kanda, I should be doing Karma Yoga, and then you will come back to Karma Yoga. So, Sahayajna is with Yajna. Praja Srishtva is Praja, all living beings as are created. Puro, in ancient time, Puratan, right? So, Vacha said Prajapati, Lord of all creatures. So, different acharyas referred Lord of creature as Vishnu or Brahma. Srila Prabhupada has done a mix of both, but the consequence is the same. Whoever we referred here is depending on the context. So we need to be very careful that how Srila Prabhupada is using that and how we understand that. So what does Prajapita says? Arena Prashavidya Vishayadhyam. So by this become prosperous, become more and more prosperous. And Isha was the Ishta Karmadhuk. So let this be your Ishta Karmadhuk. Ishta Kamadhuk. Kama means desires. Here, kama does not have a negative connotation. So it is nothing to do with lust here, okay? So kama means whatever your requirements are, whatever your needs or necessities in life. So let this be your provider of ishtakama dukkha. Whatever you desire, it will provide you. So what is this referring to actually? Krishna is telling the system of yajna is there right from the beginning to creation. So when creation is made, just like when parents beget a child, they arrange for taking care of the child. So similarly, when Lord creates living being, he makes arrangement to take care of them, isn't it? So what is the arrangement? It is the system of yajna. So yajna is Esha. Isha. So, sta ishta kamaduka. Let this be fulfiller of your desire. So, in these verses, Krishna talks about system of cosmic cooperation between the devatas, the Supreme Lord and the human beings. This will be discussed later, little later. Okay. So here we will discuss when Lord creates, he doesn't send living entities to wilderness. We can see this how Lord arranges through nature. For example, when a baby is born, food for child is already arranged in the womb. Milk is available through mother. And all species, everyone in this world gets their food. So how they get that? That is arranged by the Supreme Lord. So in this way, this universe is perfectly complete. So the Lord has arranged to care for the needs of living beings. Animals does not have any karmic result. They largely acts on their instincts for the sake of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. If somebody hits them, they will hit back. Right? So in human life, we have advanced level of consciousness. So we have capacity to regulate eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and we have capacity to choose, and so we can redirect our desire to choose spiritual desires as well. So for human beings, also Krishna provides necessity of life, but we have responsibilities to discharge our material duty and spiritual duties. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport mentions that about purpose of creation and how Lord Krishna is the ultimate goal. The material creation by the Lord of creatures is Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back to Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami also mentions that in the Lord is a pati in so many ways. He says, Shihapatir, Yajnapati, and Prajapatir. Dhyam Lokapatir, Dharapatir. Patir Gates, Chandaka, Vrishni Satvatam. and prasidhatam me Bhagavan satatam patihi. It took me a long time to, you by heart this verse. So, this verse actually tells us that Prajapati is Lord Vishnu and he is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds, and all beauties, and the protector of everyone. So, the Lord created this material world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yajna, that is sacrifice, for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, so that while in the material world they can live very comfortably without anxiety, and after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned souls. So, by performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures. As we know, the Pati means husband or the master or the Lord. So he is Shrihapatir, Lord of Goddess of Fortune. Yajnapatir is Lord Vishnu. Prajapatir, master of all living entities. Dhiyampatir, master of intelligence. Lokapatir, master of all abodes. And then Dharapatir is master of earth. That is Dharapatir. Patir Gatis Chandaka Vrishti Satvatam. All these are various dynasties in which Lord Krishna has appeared. So, O Lord, you are the master of devotees, Sattvatam, transcendentalists, and everyone. So, Prabhupada's purport actually covers the entire, uh, you know, understanding on this particular verse. If you have not read it, please read it again. It gives you a whole lot of, understanding. So, point that is talked about is through yajna, our needs are fulfilled. And yajna is the way to harmonize with Supreme Lord. And yajna is the means by which, without that, our spiritual needs are will not get fulfilled if you don't do it. So do yajna, then our spiritual needs are fulfilled. So let's try to understand how this happens. So it can refer to Brahmaji since he represents Lord and he is secondary creator. Some acharyas mention Brahmaji, but Prabhupada said it is Vishnu. So there may be difference in details, but essential principle is the same. Okay. I mean, those who are interested in reading other acharyas' books as well, for them I'm telling. Yes, Shri Shakti Mataji.
Prabhuji, Karma Kanda is for a sense gratification, right?
Yeah,
If I'm understanding it correctly.
yeah,
And Karma Yoga is a sacrifice for Vishnu. I
yeah.
mean,
Doing your
stage,
prescribed
different
duty.
stages.
Doing your prescribed
According.
duty in the service to Krishna. Yeah,
Okay. That is what I had the question, Prabhuji. I was just clearing that. Thank you.
no problem. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So now we'll move out to the next verse, which is the next section basically. So 1 to 10 we discussed about the prescribed duties, right? Now 3.11. Devan prabhayo tenana
Devan Bhavaya
Devan bhavaya tenana
tadeva bhavayantu tuvaha
Tedeva
Tadeva
bhavayantu
Bhavayantuva
prasaparam bhavayantaha
Parasparam
Parasaparam bhavayantaha
yeha param avapsataha.
Shreya Param
Yaparam avapasyatha.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you. And thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. So there has to be synchronization, cooperation between the men and the demigods. So Devan Bhavayanat Yatanena. The word anena was used in the previous verse also. Anena is referring to this sacrifice. Bhavayata, that is, devatas become satisfied by practice of this yoga. Anena, this yoga. To deva, so that is those devatas. Bhava yantut bha, they will satisfy you. So when you do the sacrifice, yajna, then they will satisfy you. So this is system of cosmic cooperation. You do this, they will do this. So you perform yajna to satisfy to devatas, and when they are pleased, they will please you. And parasparam bhavantaha, in this way satisfy each other. So sheha param avaspasatha, and by this ultimately you will attain supreme auspiciousness. Sheha param, prosperity will reign for all. So this is what Srila Prabhupada says in his purport. So now if we try to understand this by the perspective of current worldview, so today scientists are almost the priests of society. They decide this is acceptable or not. There is no conflict between scientists and spiritualists actually, but there is eternally conflict between atheism, that is materialism, and the spiritualism. Science is basically a tool. Science is like a map. So depending on what the map is used for, I will see political feature of the country, the state boundaries, or if the map is physical map, then I'll see, okay, there are mountains, ranges, and this way, and the plateaus here, rivers are here, etc. Yeah, and we can also see that which country's boundaries finishes here, which country starts here, like that. So like that, we can see the physical boundary. So in the map, many ways are neutral. A map doesn't tell what is good or what is bad. So science is basically a map. It's a tool. It is the way of looking at the world. So unfortunately, science is hijacked and monopolized by atheists for their purposes. Okay. So people say if you are scientific, you cannot believe in God or soul, etc. While, and the example of Brahmanda, and all the planets are, circling around sun. This was already said in Vedas, but scientists took their own sweet time to, find that out. Unless they do their experiments, they cannot trust anything. And Vedas, there's the last thing they have, tried to touch. But ultimately, Newton or all these scientists, even Einstein, they all have accepted that yes, the Indian Vedic philosophy uh, is the best, and it has already covered everything, including Brahmanda, which is under. So the shape of the earth is like a egg. So it is already said in the Veda, it is like Brahmanda. So, and there are some scientists who are aggressively, outrightly, fanatically atheist. And these people think that religion is the greatest evil in the society. So they say that the concept of God is the virus that corrupts the mind of people, and they are in a campaign against God. So these kind of fanatic atheists or right-wing atheists, so as we call them nowadays, we can say that they are in minority, but they are aggressive and vocal. They do propaganda to convert people to the religion of atheism. Like when we see, the attacks on 26/11, 9/11, all these, we always go and, you know, point fingers on all the Muslims. It is not like that. There are some Muslims, those who are good. I mean, 75% Muslims are good. There could be 25%, 25% also too much that I'm saying. 10 to 15% will be there who are bad, but their majority in the sense of their force by which they are doing their work, overpowers everyone. So it is like that. So negative scientists are overpowering other people. Even there are good scientists, those who believe in, like Jagdish Chandra Basu, like these people. So, and even in our parampara, in Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara as well, I mean, we do believe in all these, acharyas already. Those who have said this, and Veda has already explained this. So there is no doubt that the overpowering of negative atheism is always been the cause of not non-believers in terms of what God says. So apart from science is a tool like a map, we need to see that science can be used to look at the world depending on the pre-existing biases of the people. They will perceive things accordingly. For example, there is a lot of evidence of soul and reincarnation, which comes from various sources of science, is used to study that, then science can be used to actually point towards spirituality. However, but there was a time when they were not believing it. So currently, the science focuses to study materialism, but science can also be used to understand and promote spiritualism. That is why Prabhupada very intelligently named this as a science of self-realization. It is the whole science. Science of self-realization. So we have past life memories, we have near-death experiences, we have phenomena of consciousness, and all these actually indicate that the soul is different from the body and the soul. And the soul goes from one body to another body. It's like changing the car, changing the houses. We all know this. So these are things which are not unscientific. These are talked in science, and there is a good amount of scientific evidence available as well. From the eddy, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. So these are all very well-known phenomena by which we understand that science is actually now pointing towards spirituality. It is not outrightly rejecting the Vedic principles and the science of self-realization. Yeah. So some of you have to go today at early, so I'm trying to finish the class in 1 hour for a change. And any questions? Because even I have a treatment due, so even I have to run there. So I'm not giving only reason what Sri Shakti Mataji has given. I'm also a culprit for that. So please read the books. I can see from the faces that nobody is reading it. Only one or two of you are reading it, but some of you are preparing for CPA, CA, and all that, so not getting time to do anything. So please spend at least half an hour to read. Half an hour is not much. Watch one less Bollywood song on YouTube, or for half an hour, don't watch a movie and then read the Prabhupada books. And if you've taken the notes from my class, please go through them. It will help you a lot, because I want you, every one of you, to become a teacher. Like I'm teaching, you also can teach. I did become a teacher in one day. There are classes when, people have walked out of my class because I couldn't explain them properly. I have gone through that phase. So each one of have to, you have to fall and then again stand up, again fall, again stand, like that. So then only you will become a good teacher. I'm not saying that I'm a very good teacher, but yeah, you can become at least confident to teach the science of self-realization. The key is that please listen. Listen. That's why, why I follow my Shiksha Guru. You can have anyone Shiksha Guru. I'm not forcing anyone that everyone should listen to Srila Chatran Charan Prabhu or Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj or anyone. I'm not marketing anyone of them. But the only thing is you should follow somebody who you, relate to, and please listen to them and follow their notes, their classes, so that you can gain more and more knowledge. Yeah. So let's do Vaishnava Pranam, and then we can again talk once I stop the recording. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
रूपश्च
कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। गौर
जय शुभ कृष्ण प्रभु जी
प्रेमानंदे
की
हरि
जय।
हरि बोल। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।